Hello, 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 Facebook. Or I'm going to record this, and if you're watching on YouTube, hello, YouTube. I was just completely inspired and motivated to come on and talk to you about your emotions. Because I was just finishing coaching with somebody, and this is not uncommon. He was telling me that he just doesn't want to feel uncomfortable. He doesn't want to experience any sort of discomfort. And I think this is the most toxic belief that we have in our society. This belief that we should always be happy, that we should always be positive, that we should find the silver lining. And part of me, yes, I agree that in any situation, you can see the good. But to have a belief that you should always be happy and you should always be positive is just a load of bollocks. I'm sorry to swear, but it is, right? As humans, we are just not designed to feel happy all of the time. We're not. It's not possible. But when we're experiencing what we perceive to be a negative emotion, then we think something's gone wrong. And what do? We eat all the sugar to try and make us feel better. It doesn't make us feel better. It adds more negativity to our situation. Because now not only are we still feeling the first negative emotion, now we're feeling it and we're putting on weight, or we've added irritability or sleepless nights or bad skin or aggravated conditions, or now we're stressed and pre-diabetic. So I really felt like I wanted to come on, and some of you would have heard this before, but I have done a workshop on it, and I'll do another workshop on it. But I just wanted to come on and teach you what an emotion is. What is an emotion? And yeah, exactly, Michelle. The most frequent lie that we tell ourselves is that we should always be happy. It's just a toxic lie that our brain is talking bollocks to us. So what I wanted to explain was your emotions, your feelings, emotional sensation is the reason why you do or don't do something in your life. So when you feel motivated, you take action. When you feel demotivated, you don't take action. It's that continual need to try and feel better when we don't actually need to feel better. But it's our emotions that drive all of our actions or create our inactions. So our emotions are really important thing to understand. But what I'd like to do first of all is just explain to you what an emotion is. You know, what is that feeling that we experience when I'm talking about emotion? So there's a difference between an emotional feeling and a physical sensation in our body. So a physical sensation will start in the body and send a message up to your brain. For example, you might cut yourself, then the little messengers scurry up to your brain to say, ouch, we need help. And the brain then responds by knitting it up and healing. It might be that you haven't eaten for quite a few hours, your stomach is empty. That physical emptiness sends a message up to your brain to say, we need to eat. So a physical sensation starts in the body and sends a message up to the head. An emotional feeling starts with our head. It starts with the thoughts that we're thinking and sends a message down to your body. So depending on what you're thinking, it will create a feeling within your body, a vibration in your body. We then choose to label that vibration as either positive or negative. We either like it or we don't like it. It's good or bad. But actually, it is just a vibration in the body created by a sentence that we've had in our head. All of that is neutral until we interpret it, until we decide that this is good or this is bad. So when I'm talking through this, I am talking about the emotional feelings that we create in our body because of thoughts that we've had in our head. So that's the difference. And what I'd like to tell you is that life is 50-50. You can argue this with me as much as you want to, but by design, as humans, we are designed to feel negative some of the time, and we are designed to feel positive some of the time, if you even want to label the emotion. But what happens is when we're experiencing what we perceive to be negative, when maybe we're feeling sad or frightened, or we're feeling grief and loss, or some sort of emotional pain, embarrassment, shame, anxiety, hate, boredom. I mean, the list goes on, doesn't it? That we've got a huge list of both emotions. But when we're here, we think something's gone wrong. And then what happens is we try and avoid it. So we try and move away from it, but we're not feeling any of these emotions. And what happens then is we end up living on the outskirts of our existence over here. So we're not feeling these emotions. We're trying to avoid these emotions. And so we live on the outskirts, and this creates more negativity. So this is what we call buffering. We are basically trying to avoid a negative emotion, but by avoiding it, we're creating more negativity. So I'm a sugar coach. So when you're going to reach for the sugar to try and feel better, the negative effects of that are then you start judging yourself. You start criticizing yourself. You start asking yourself, what is wrong with me? Why can't I stop? You've got the physical feeling of feeling sick where you've eaten too much, and then the long-term effects of the weight gain. So we actually end up creating more negativity. And you can apply this to, because then you've got the judgments and the criticism. So we create more negativity. So then the pie tends to become more like 30-70 because we're creating more negativity for ourselves, especially not only with the physical effects, but the emotional effects of the judgment and the criticism and the hateful speak. And what I'd like to tell you is that all of this is optional. If we just accept that at times we are going to experience a negative emotion, that nothing has gone wrong when we do, then we get comfortable feeling uncomfortable. And when you're comfortable feeling uncomfortable, you don't need to eat all the crap to try and make you feel better, because it's not making you feel better anyway. So it's not working. When you're comfortable feeling uncomfortable, there is nothing in your life that you can't achieve, whether that's a weight loss goal or a job promotion or a relationship that you want to figure out, if you want more money. Being willing to learn how to experience this part of your human existence is the most amazing, powerful key to your success. So then, when you're comfortable feeling uncomfortable, when you realize nothing has gone wrong when you're here, then life might shift a bit more this way, because you're not making the perceived negative emotion anything. You're not increasing it. It's just there. It's not a problem. It's okay. If you imagine each of these as like an item of clothing or a handbag, you're like, yeah, I'm carrying anxiety around with me today. No big deal. We don't have to get anxious about feeling anxious, or annoyed at feeling annoyed, or angry about feeling angry. We could just be like, yeah, I'm feeling anxious because I'm thinking, I can't do it. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I'm going to get it wrong. There will be a thought that you have. My two, I'm not clever enough and I can't do it. They're the two sentences that my brain offers me on a regular basis that make me feel nervous and anxious. But I know that they're not true. I've got loads of evidence to prove that those thoughts aren't true. But I still feel the emotion. That's not a problem. I don't have to make it a problem. I don't have to eat loads of food and drink loads of drink and avoid it or try and change it, because that just adds more negativity. Just be like, yep, I'm feeling anxious and let's carry on with my day. No big deal. Because actually there was 3 things, but I've changed it to 4 things. These are the 4 things that we do with our emotions. We either resist them, so we like, oh no, I don't want to feel that, I'm going to resist it, move it away. We react to it, so we shout and we scream, or we huff and we respond, and it feels like that's us processing, but it isn't. That is a reaction. We try and avoid it completely, so like put it in a box, push it to one side, ignore it. These don't work. These 3 don't work, and the emotion never quite goes. It's always sort of an underlying current. Even if you're trying to avoid it and you've locked it away and you think it's in a box, you're never gonna feel it again. It's still there, like this underlying ripple of emotion. The other thing that we do is we indulge. We just completely wallow in that emotion. So overwhelm, confusion, worry. We kind of like to worry, I think, is a really funny one, because people go, no, this is important, Nikki. I have to be worried. I heard this a lot over the pandemic, and I was like, really? But you're still getting together with loads of people that you shouldn't be getting to. So how is that worry actually keeping you safe? I'm not worried at all, but I'm following the rules. So how is worry helping? Like worry, confusion, overwhelm don't move us forward. They're not a productive emotion. They don't actually create anything. They seem really important and really vital, but they're actually not. They just keep us stuck and spinning in that emotion. So we sit and we indulge in it. And the problem is with all of these is that it never processes the emotion and releases it. It means that that emotion just continues to be sort of latched onto us, just rippling away under the surface. And it's very gently guiding what we do without us even knowing. So I would like to share with you a skill that we're not taught. We're never taught how to process our emotions. We sometimes do it naturally. Well, we do it naturally with the emotions that we perceive as good or that feel nice, because we allow them to be in our body, but we don't do it with other emotions. And it's really simple. How you deal with your emotions is quite simply to allow them to be present in your body. And the way that you do that is really by coming out of your head, connecting with your body, and just asking some really simple questions. So just asking yourself, like, where in your body do you feel this vibration? So for me, the anxiety that I feel daily is like this heavy sort of pit in my stomach. And it's sort of, it's almost like it's drag. It's like a drag. It's the emotion is like it's dragging me down a little bit. So I feel it in my stomach. Is it hard or soft? This is very hard. This is a very hard, it's a slow, when you go to slow or fast, it's a very slow, hard, heavy kind of, if you want to make it an object, but that's going back into your head. So it's just a very sort of hard, heavy sensation. It doesn't move. Does it move around? My anxiety doesn't move. It just sits. And is it hot or cold? It's cold. And I also like to add to this is, does it have a color? And for me, anxiety is like a dark gray. So I can sit and I can experience that sensation in my stomach. And even thinking about it now, you can clearly see nothing has gone wrong. You can clearly see that I'm not in any physical pain, that the world hasn't opened up and swallowed me whole, that I'm not, being ripped apart. I'm experiencing and creating the emotion of anxiety, and it's completely harmless. So you can apply this skill to any emotion that you experience, good and bad, if you want to label them as that. You can just stop, take a step back, and just go, right, okay, let's take anger, I think is a good one. Right, I'm feeling angry because I'm thinking they shouldn't have spoke to me like that. So let's imagine someone's shouting at you. You have this thought, they shouldn't speak to me like that. You feel angry. Now, the person that is reacting to anger, coming back to this, the person that's reacting to anger, they're going to get red-faced, they're going to shout, and they're going to scream. That is reacting to the emotion. There is no peace on the other side of that. When you're resisting it, it could be looking like, I'm not feeling angry. I'm not going to feel angry. I'm not going to. That's attention. There's no peace on the other side of that. Equally, if you pretend that you don't feel, if you're avoiding it and you pretend you don't feel angry, there's no peace on the other side of it. But if you imagine two people, one is reacting to their anger and they're shouting and screaming, and the other one is stood there. They're taking full control and responsibility for their anger. They're allowing it to be present in their body, and they're very consciously and deliberately deciding how they're going to respond. That person is so much more powerful. That person is controlling their emotion rather than the emotion controlling them. That's what gives you your control in your life. That ability to experience, allow, and process an emotion is one of the most amazing superpowers that we have as humans. And nothing has even gone wrong when we're experiencing it. So you always get to choose. You always get to decide how you want to deal with the emotions that you're having. And you might be asking, what the hell has this got to do with your sugar cravings? Well, a craving is an emotion. The urge to eat cake is an emotion. The desire that you have to go up for seconds and thirds and fourths, even though you know logically it's going to make you feel sick, is an emotion. You don't have to let that emotion manage you and your behavior. You get to choose. You get to decide. You get to experience that urge, experience that craving, and choose not to respond to it. And when you learn that skill, the most amazing thing happens. The emotion disappears. Researchers have proven that if you allow your emotion, if you allow yourself to fully experience an emotion, it only lasts for around 90 seconds. I've found personally, it's even less, not even a minute. When you really sit there and really breathe into it and open up to it and fully experience it, it kind of fucks off. It's like, okay, this isn't working. It loses all its power. It loses its interest and it disappears. It leaves you. And the other side is peace. So I had this the other day. I experienced what my thoughts were making me experience disappointment. And I was gutted. I was really gutted about something. And I could have pretended that everything would be okay. And I could have pretended that I'll just carry on with my day. And I could have pretended that, everything's for the best. But I didn't. I sat down in my office in here, and I put my head in my hands and I allowed myself to bawl my eyes out. I felt the disappointment. I felt that feeling of being completely gutted. And I allowed myself to cry. And the other side of that was peace, because I had processed it and released it. And I felt peaceful. And that's what happens when you allow and process your emotions. So I started off all like on a bit of a trip about talking about emotions and how we always think we should be happy all of the time. And when you realize that you can process a negative emotion, we don't need to be frightened of them. We don't need to avoid them. We certainly don't need to eat them away, because that doesn't work anyway. So I really hope my little bit of inspiration has inspired you today to maybe start considering to yourself, how can I use this in my life? How can I take what Nikki has just taught me and actually apply it? Because just listening to me talking isn't going to make a difference to your head. Unfortunately, I really wish it could. I really wish I could wave a magic wand and you could go away and you never have to think about it again. This skill would just happen. Life doesn't work that way, my friends. So the only way this is going to benefit you is for you to actually go away. Excuse me, I'm using my voice. Is to actually go away and practice it. And practice it. And practice it again. And practice it again. Because this is a life required skill that we're never taught. But whilst your brain is active, will constantly need managing. And once you've got that skill, it just gets easier and easier and easier to use it. So if you've got any questions, or if you want to talk to me about this anymore, then I am more than happy to help you, and I can help you deal with your emotions. There is no need to use sugar as a support. You can support yourself emotionally. Then you can choose to just enjoy the cake because it tastes amazing if you wanted to. You could choose to have one little sweet or one chocolate button because you wanted to experience the taste, not because you think it's going to give you some sort of emotion, because it's not. You can give yourself that support, and I can help you with that. So please get in touch if you want to know more. Have an amazing day. Michelle, if you're still on, it was lush to see you. And I'll speak to you all again soon.